we'd like to welcome Captain Cornwell from the hospital, and he's joining us for this call-in session. And so we're going to answer any questions that you may have about life here on Naval Base Guam, and also concerns and questions about hospital care.
Thank you, Captain Charlie, for this opportunity. And to the Guam family, thank you for joining us, and I look forward to serving you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to go, we're having a little bit of phone difficulties here with the phone call, and once the phone bridge is established, it will be open for 144 calls at once, and so phone etiquette is important, and I'm going to go through that here in just a moment.
Okay, stay there.
All right. So, so first of all, the reason we do this town hall is to create a dialogue between us, Naval Base Guam, and the community. And we want to reach out to you, the service members, and the commands that are resident here to Guam, and hear your feedback and hear some of your concerns. So please, we really enjoy your participation, and we're interested in what you're thinking. So, so first of all, that brings up a great point. We got some on-hold music here. All right, so I'm going to go through some administrative instructions. So when dialing in, dial in 333-1600, and then please wait for the tone, and then you'll be connected. Don't announce yourself, just simply pause and listen for a clear connection. Place your handset or cell phone on mute, and this is the important part because this is why we're getting in the background music. So place your phone to mute to reduce background interference, and then when you feel like you have an opportunity to speak, then unmute your phone. I ask for everybody involved to please use phone courtesy and etiquette. You don't have to announce who you are. You can do this anonymously, or you can say who you are and where you're calling from. So if there's any too much interference, we'll briefly stop and ensure that all phones are clear except for the caller who's asking the question. Once again, mute is important. So if you're calling from an on-base number, don't put that phone on hold, as this will play Anchors Away or the Marine Corps hymn, as you guys all know. Once again, your feedback is vital, so please let us know. And you can also address any questions on Facebook, and we'll go ahead and answer those as well as opportunity presents itself. Do we have any questions calling in right off the bat?
What's happened, sir, is that conference line is not connecting. We're contacting base telephone right now to figure out if they open the switch up.
Okay.
There's another step that's involved. If they miss that, then it's not going to do what it's supposed to do.
All
Just hang up, sir, and then you're at least live streaming.
Okay. So right now, it looks like we're still struggling a little bit with the call-in, and we're live streaming. So I'm going to put out a little bit of information here while we correct the difficulties. First of all, it's been a busy spring for Naval Base Guam, and the tenants and the families here on the island. So a couple recent things that have happened since last time we talked. The CNO came to visit. And it was a very productive but brief visit. We've also had a few major exercises. We had multi-sail, which brought in 8 U.S. Navy or international destroyers. We've played host to the Carl Vinson Strike Group and 8,000 sailors. So I thank you for your patience while we were experiencing a double in population of the base for 5 days. We've also hosted a French amphibious assault ship, the Mistral. So a lot of things going on in the waterfront, and also a lot of things going on out in the community. Some of the things that have happened on base is we just finished up our Midway commemoration. It was the 75th anniversary of Midway. And on Friday, tomorrow, we look forward to the graduation at Guam High School, at Dodea High School. So those are a couple of things that are happening here on the installation. And as we get ready for this summer season, I'd just like to remind you that June 1st kicked off typhoon season. So please make sure that your families are ready for the eventuality or the possibility of a storm. So Guam is right there in Typhoon Alley, and it's critical that we don't wait until a storm is on the horizon, that we are prepared right off the bat. So that means having your own family preparedness plan and also preparing your house and yard for typhoon season. So that means securing gear adrift that's in and adjacent to your home. That means making sure you have pre-flooded your personal generators, and make sure that you have and you know how to appropriately hook it up to the provided inputs to your house system. All right. Want to make sure that you all exercise extreme care when operating your private generators. All right. So, Skipper, do you have anything you'd like to put out for the hospital as far as questions that folks might have, or services that you can provide?
Yes, sir. Hello again. I just like to, say thank you for joining us. Naval Hospital Guam is here to serve you. We are a community hospital. So what does that mean? A community hospital serves a small community, such as family of Guam here. We have full medical, surgical, obstetrical, and ER services. We need you to be enrolled to us to receive care. And to do that, it's very easy. Go down to our TRICARE enrollment right by the front door and you walk in. The phone number is 344-9777. They can help you out. You pick one of the medical home ports, and we can get you in almost. We have excess capacity right now, so we're taking in open enrollment, so to speak. We have 25,000 beneficiaries on the island, and currently we're right at the 13,000 to 14,000 enrollee mark. So we've got some room to take in some more folks. The Space A folks. Space A are individuals that have not enrolled, and if you remember TRICARE standard, they can have their choice. They can go out in town or come to us. And that Space A is shrinking, so we'd really like to get you enrolled, to get you into our facility. We'd love to take care of you, and we try to give you our best every day. We also have a weekend clinic for enrollees. That's open every Saturday and Sunday from 1000 to 1500. And again, but you must be an enrollee to do that. That's acute care walk-in type clinic. So we're here to help. A little bit about the hospital. You know, it's brand new. We opened the spring of 2014. We have a 33-bed facility. We can expand to 66-bed in times of contingency. We have two other hospitals on the island, Guam Memorial and Guam Regional. They're in our part of the network, part of the TRICARE network. We use them from time to time. And we also have a very robust medevac system. We get folks in and out all the time for specialties that we can't do. Okinawa, Tripler, and Balboa is our three biggest. So we're here to help you, and please swing on by anytime you'd like. Skipper?
All right. Thanks, Captain. So what I just want to go ahead and discuss a little bit is something that's very current, and it's a hot topic around the installation. I think I get asked this question every place I go. So it's munitions of explosive concern, or MEC. You've seen the bulletins at your home, you've seen the bulletins at your place of work, and I know it's frustrating. I'll be straight up honest with you. I understand your frustration, and I just want you to know where MEC comes from and why it's important, and how we try to balance the effects of munitions of explosive concern. As we all know, Guam was a battlefield in World War II. The island was heavily bombarded. This very terrain that our naval base is on right now was the site of a pitched battle. So the remnants of war, even though it was 75 years ago, still remain. And MEC, munitions of explosive concern, is the process that we use to ensure that when we do digging, excavation, or construction, that we do it safely. So MEC can encompass anything from actual unexploded ordnance to munition related paraphernalia. A old 44 or 45 handgun is munitions of explosive concern. Even though it's a rusted Hulk that doesn't even have a bullet in it, it's still a piece of munition of explosive concern. So you can see the gamut that runs all the way from unexploded ordnance all the way down to things that you and I would feel comfortable picking up. Rusted pieces of metal. But you don't know what's in the ground. And that's why we have to go through an exhaustive inspection and X-ray search prior to digging. And then when we do have the opportunity to dig, we can only dig to a certain depth, and then we have to scan again, and then dig and scan, and dig and scan. It's tedious, it's hard, and it takes time. But what does it prevent? It prevents anything catastrophic from happening. It's a safety measure that's put in place to protect the citizens and the employees here on Naval Base Guam. So we have found anything from a machine gun fighting position to unexploded rocket-propelled grenades. We've found forks. We've found remains of barrels. It runs the gamut. And we have to assume the worst case scenario. I don't know if that piece of metal that comes up in an anomaly in an X-ray is an old knife, maybe a K-bar, or if it's a 500-pound bomb. And since a 500-pound bomb is much more catastrophic than a knife, I have to make an assumption for the protection of everybody here on the base that it is a piece of ordnance. All right, that's where that maximum explosive arc comes from, and that's where you all in housing or in your commands or in MWR facilities or in barracks are probably affected the most in the wide open maximum danger arc. As we refine our search down, that arc shrinks, but for that initial search and for a period of time, we have to assume the worst possible scenario. I have here our Assistant Public Works Officer, and I'd like to turn it over to him to see if he has some additions to add about munitions of explosive concern. Hadi?
Thanks very much, Skipper. Good evening, everybody. Skipper, you said it well. And Guam is the World War II battlefield with approximately 11,000 unexploded ordnance found throughout the island. The Navy requires the munitions response when performing ground intrusive activity on former battlefields and ground intrusive activity, which includes the installation of new underground utility, new paving, and any trenching or anything that requires the excavation. While performing these initial ground intrusive activity, the Navy is also required to establish what we call exclusion zone in order to ensure the safety of surrounding personnel. Unfortunately, there has been an extensive required facility and utility work in the couple of years, and that actually forced us to establish these these zones and exclusion zones, and be a little bit inconvenient for the residents here. But while we're trying to minimize the frequency and length of these exclusion zones, they're also a necessary fact necessary fact of life when working on the former battlefield.
Hi, you've reached Jeff Landis, Public Affairs.
All right, so to continue about munitions of explosive concern, so we do our best to juggle timing, and some of the things that we consider, we certainly don't want to inconvenience our residents. That is not what we want to do, but we try to juggle. We certainly don't want to do it at night because that would affect sleeping and care at home in the evening. So that means it's probably going to happen during the day. Depending on where it is, if the exclusion zone affects the school, we try not to do it during school hours. We try to shift that to weekend time. If it affects the barracks, we try to shift it to the time where the barracks are occupied by as few as people as possible. And I understand we have day sleepers, and I get it. And that's when unaccompanied housing does their best to issue standby rooms to the people who are affected by day sleepers. There is no perfect time to do MEC. We do it as required by when the contracts are set and executed. So we have a MEC coming up right now, and your concern is that we're doing it right as school has ended and the children will be home. I know that's probably not a great time. It isn't a great time, but it's the time when the money was let for the contract, so it's kind of forced me into a situation where now I have to execute. Also in Lockwood in Phase 2, I had the intersection of MEC and archaeological concerns. We were doing an excavation and doing MEC work, and we came across a World War II fighting position, so intact machine gun nest, and that had been buried over when the construction was first built 60 years ago. And when we went to renovate, we discovered this, and so we had to stop. That's why you see 5 houses in Lockwood that haven't been worked on, because they're affected by this archaeological site. So not only do I have a munitions of explosive concern issue, I also have a cultural preservation concern, and it's my duty as a steward of cultural sites here on Navy Base Guam that I also make sure that we take the proper care of those resources too. So I had to juggle the archaeological concerns and the historical concerns against the munitions concerns, and once again, that delayed the MEC process and inconvenienced potentially you as a family member or a citizen of the Naval Base Guam. So we try our best. We provide houses for families that are displaced by MEC. I know they're not as comfortable as your home. I get it, and I understand that. But they are habitable, they are clean, they're available for your use. They have couches and beds, but they don't have Wi-Fi and they don't have TV, but at least they're a place that you can go and perhaps take your children and some supplies for the day and at least have a place to go. All right. I know MEC is a problem, and I heard from my wife that MEC was a problem. We were MEC'd out of our house for a while, and she said, well, to me, she said, hey, you're not affected, you're at work, and I said, I understand that, and so I get the concern, and please know that we try to balance your need with getting those construction projects done. All right. We'll take some more questions on MEC if they come in. Please let us know via Facebook. We're still having a little bit of trouble with the phone dial-in, so as of right now, please write in with Facebook questions. Another thing that came up is storage requirements. And we're trying to stay in the Public Works vein here for right now. Public Works is also my space allocation manager. They manage any requests for space allocations, whether they're from commands or non-federal entities. And when I say non-federal entities, think Navy Marine Corps Relief, think Boy Scouts, think Sea Cadets, think Girl Scouts. And we accommodate those as best we can, space available. It's not my primary mission, but if I have space available, I most certainly provide for those. One of the things that came up is Boy Scouts. Well, the Boy Scouts are a licensed non-federal entity, and they have their space in the chapel. The Sea Cadets have their space up in Building 4175, and hopefully we'll meet those needs as required. Now, it does have to go through a process. It comes in through perhaps Public Works or through the base JAG, and then that we look for a space, and if we can, we go ahead and write a contract for a lease, and some of those leases are dependent on size and facility that is rented. We have to go with a like market rate, but sometimes we can work with agencies that are in a preferred status, so such as the Boy Scouts, such as Sea Cadets, such as American Red Cross, and organizations like that. All right. I'm going to talk about one communal space, and this one has a reach across many different organizations. Public Works is providing the space. It's going to be managed by MWR, but it's something that I'd like to give you some feedback in from the last town hall. In the last town hall, I heard you loud and clear. You guys wanted a community center back. We had turned our community center into a teen center, thinking that the demand for the community center was not as significant as the demand for the teen center. So what we did is we've used some funds from the Installation Excellence Award, and we went ahead and have renovated a space adjacent to the school aged care facility and have opened up a community center. You might know it, so it's right there between the teen center and the school aged care center, and you might be thinking, that's the auto hobby shop, and you are correct. And no, I didn't put you in a, I didn't put it in a garage bay. There is a facility behind that has a wide open meeting room. It has a full kitchen, and it also has two rooms available that are satellite rooms that are perfect for childcare. So starting tomorrow, we're actually doing a walkthrough and opening with several representatives from the Ombudsman community at 10 a.m. And if you'd like to join us, you're more than welcome to come down and see the newly opened community center. So how is that going to work, and who's it open to? So I heard you loud and clear, FRGs. It's for you guys, and it's zero fee, and it's going to be managed by MWR, and it's going to be managed through the ITT office in the gym. So if you want to sign up, you can go to the gym, or you can also sign up online. And all of that will be published in business rules that will manage how we allocate the space and how we schedule. All right. So I'm hoping that that fulfills a need that you have. And I know a lot of your organizations were working out of the chapel. You were looking in different venues, and you just couldn't find something that was right. I really hope this is the place. I think it is. I can't wait for you to come down and see it. It's still in the process of being stood up. I think we can make it better as a community. So I'm looking for your input. And I look forward to meeting the ombudsmans tomorrow and seeing what they have and seeing what their inputs is, so we can continue to improve that. Once again, I just want to thank the CBs and Public Works and MWR. They did a lot of hard work to bring that to life. And yes, it took 5 months to make it happen, but we had to find the resource money and then approve the plan, and we're ready to go live tomorrow. So I'm really happy to announce that to you. Captain, you want to take the con for a moment or two? You have any more information you'd like to put out?
Sure, Captain Charlie. Relay Health, what does that mean? How many of you like to get in your car and fight through traffic, then try to find a parking space and walk into the hospital and get in line? Well, Relay Health is a secure messaging format. You can do it from home. It's an internet-based. You can sign up from home. It's easier if you come to the hospital, see your primary care provider, give you the instructions. It's a two-phase approach. You do it at the hospital, your primary care provider, they'll walk you through it. You get all connected. You get a password, a code name, and you get in. Then once you get home, you connect from your end, and then that secures it. And from then on, you can talk to your provider, you can refill your meds, you can make appointments, you can send digital images if you have to. It's just another way that Navy Medicine is getting you closer to the provider to save you some time and save the provider some time. And again, it's secure. It'll get you there, and it's a great tool we have to connect the patient to the provider. Along with that, as I mentioned, you can make your appointments with that as well, which is just a big time saver. We do our best to get you in. Right now, our acute access, we get you in hopefully within 24 hours when you make the call. And then the 7-day wait, we're about 3 days out for future appointments. But like I said, we're a community hospital. We're here for you. We have most of the specialties that you'd see in a community hospital. And again, our ER is open 24/7. The weekend clinic, Saturday and Sundays from 1000 to 15. That's in a walk-in basis. You need to be enrolled to us. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we're pushing enrollment. We need you to enroll and pick Naval Hospital Guam as your primary care provider. Space is shrinking low. It's coming this summer where we have the PCS rush, and that happens no matter where you're at. Any base, any MTF, any ship or sub, people come and go. We're juggling our best right now to get the schedules to ensure access is within 24 hours. So please come on down. My direct number, 344-9234. You can call me anytime. I'm here for you. Been here about a year now. Very proud of the hospital, proud of our team. I call us, we're the family of 800, and we're here to serve you. Captain?
Yeah. All right, thanks. I really appreciate it, Dan. So moving along here, some questions about park renovations and sidewalk lighting and nighttime lighting in the community. So park renovations. So the playground on Rode Point Road is ready for use. It's been inspected and accepted, and it's open for residential use. So please come out and join us. The one on Power Street is completed and should be ready for inspection and then turn over to the community here very shortly. So those are a couple park updates that I'd like to share with you. Moving along to lighting. So we have a lot of safety lighting and street lighting here on Naval Base Guam, but I know there's some dark areas, and we're looking at the dark areas back by the driving range. Someone mentioned that they jog out there a lot, and I'm with you. I understand that. We'll take a look at it. There's also been a pretty big project in the Harborview housing area to replace street lighting. So that's ongoing and should help some of those projects as well. Hadi, do you have anything that you want to add, or Dan, or Marlena?
Sir, as you said, the street lighting project is going right now. Hopefully, we will wrap that project up, and we'll have residents have a lighter streets or walking side to do the jogging and running. Also, I wanted to put out the comments about the right behind the driving range. Public Works Department has that for action. We're going to verify the requirement, and then we're going to plan a project for that area and put some street light when money comes available. Thank you.
All right. So but that's input we need from you. So please let us know, and also please let us know if there's lighting that's out. Work with your housing manager. We'll take that information, and hopefully you should know who your residential housing manager is for your neighborhood. And if you do have a question, please call into the housing main office, and they'll let you know who your manager is. They'll take your information right there, but then they'll also let you know who your housing manager is, who you can reach out to. All right. Speed bumps and street signs in housing are always a concern. Some people want less speed bumps. Some people want more speed bumps. Right now, under the federal code, under the facilities code, Uniform Facilities Code, we have the right amount of speed reduction devices, is really what speed bumps are called, required for the neighborhood. Okay. Now, there are some styles, there's some different styles of speed bumps in the neighborhood. And eventually we would like to go to speed humps that are less aggressive, as some of you have put it in your comments, than some of the traffic calming devices that we have installed now. But there is a traffic engineer that manages these things for the base and also specifically in housing. Now that brings me up to a security issue. Speed in housing. We have given 300 tickets. In the last 3 months, we've given over 300 speeding tickets on the installation. All right. This month alone, last month alone, so the month of May, we were about 170 tickets. All right. You see the signs. You might have even seen me out there. I've worked the speed gun on multiple occasions, and I've even pulled a few of you guys over. If you see me at your window, it's your lucky day. I don't give tickets. I just remind you and ask for your cooperation. So if you see me, it's your lucky day. But if you're pulled over by one of my patrol officers, it will cost you base driving points, and that could eventually cause you base driving privileges. So I ask you, please, maximum speed on the base is 35. There are 15-mile-per-hour zones all throughout the base to include housing. Please be courteous to your neighbors and to the children in the community. School's almost out, and we have to be good neighbors, and we have to manage our speed, all right? So I have increased patrols in the neighborhoods, especially here with school being out. I have also placed speed awareness devices in the neighborhoods. But it's a constant battle, and I can't catch everyone, all right? We also we do random speed traps, and we catch a lot of people. We catch residents in housing speeding. We catch employees of the base speeding. So it's everyone, all right? I have to watch my speed on base. All right. So let's see here. Moving on to MWR, the gym. We're going to talk a little bit about the gym this afternoon, and the first question is the family rooms in the gym. So the family rooms in the gym are there for families. That is our primary target audience for that. But I understand, and I'm not going to limit it if it's not being used by families, and it's available to be used by other folks. So if you want to have a little bit more private setting to work out, you're welcome to use it. However, once again, I think that falls under the mutual respect. If a family comes in, I think I would personally do the courteous thing and yield my personal workout, especially if I don't have a child, yield my personal workout to that family who's there to enjoy and utilize it as a family facility. All right, I think we can do that as good neighbors and good residents of the community, and we can police ourselves. All right, so there's some questions. Somebody even posted a picture. Trust me, there's more than a mat there. We did remove some of the things that were there prior to the renovation, but I believe there's 4 running stations there. There's some stationary weights. There are some things there's some bikes. There are things there to use. It's not a big facility, I understand that, but it is there for family use. We took the toys out of there for a cleanliness reason. We still have toys available at the front desk that you can ask to take custody of and then return us after the use. And that's just to help us manage cleanliness and hygiene on the toys. Or I encourage you guys to bring in a bag of your child's favorite toys. The toys I provide are probably not as cool as the toys that you have for your children. So bring your own toys, set up your child, and get a workout in. All right, it's a great thing for our families. Let's see. Thank you for being patient with me as we went to 5 televisions in the gym. I thought I was going to hear a lot about that, and I did hear a bit, but you guys have taken that in stride, and I really appreciate that. Part of a cost-cutting measure, we lost all the cable inputs that we had except for 5. So that definitely, ramped down our ability to provide in-work entertainment or mid-workout entertainment. But Wi-Fi is still up and running in the gym, and I encourage you to bring your own mobile devices. All right. Sir, do you want to help me out here a little bit? All right.
Absolutely, Captain. Again, my name is Captain Dan Cornwell. I'm the commanding officer of the Naval Hospital. I did give you my office number, 344-9234. I also want to hit on our Central Appointments main line number. That's 344-9202. That's our main line. You can call that any time of the day. It'll connect you to multiple areas of expertise, to your clinic, to the quarterdeck. Again, we're there to help you. I spoke earlier about Relay Health. The secure messaging, that's very important. You can go online and do that, but as I mentioned earlier, it's probably better to have a friendly head over your shoulder to kind of guide you through. But the online account, it's MIL, M-I-L, .relay, R-E-L-A-Y, health, all one word, HEALTH.com. And you can stumble through that. I know I stumble through that all the time. I'm not very tech savvy. But you can start at that at home. You can do the same thing you do at the hospital. But again, we've got folks at the hospital that will help you do that. But it's important to do the second phase is connect at home. Because again, we're looking to save you time, put you in touch with your provider. And again, the Central Appointments number, any questions at all, connect you to the admin office, to my office, to the ER, to the booking appointments. And also, we have 2 branch clinics. We've got the branch clinic on the Navy base, and we also have our dental clinic on the naval base as well. So we're here to serve, and please utilize us. Skipper?
All right. So we did have a question that came in, and I want to hit on this. It's a little bit of a public works and a little bit of a housing question. So I'm going to read it out loud. Thank you for submitting it. Really appreciate that. The question is radon detection systems in housing, specifically Lockwood. And then they went on to ask about an expected date or an update to install detection efforts. So what I'm going to basically tell you is a little bit about radon and then a little bit about how radon sampling works and then what happens if we find radon. So radon is an odorless, colorless gas. It's natural. It's a gas that comes up from the bedrock, and it's naturally occurring. You can't smell it or taste it or see it, and it primarily affects enclosed spaces and first floor or basement type structures. All right. So what we do is there's a program called NavRamp, which is the Navy's radon management program, and it's a 5-year incremental test. All right, so just this year and the start of last year, the industrial buildings here on Naval Base Guam went through a radon sampling. So we sampled over 400 buildings, if I'm not mistaken, and came up with buildings, eliminated buildings that didn't meet the threshold for concern, and then the buildings that met the threshold for concern. We're in the process of taking care of the things that make that building susceptible to radon. So you say, okay, those are industrial buildings. Those are buildings that are high occupancy, occupational buildings, that type of stuff. Where does housing fall in? Where does Lockwood fall in? Well, that falls under the Housing NavRamp program, which is managed by Housing with oversight through Naval Base Guam Environmental. And that is also on a 5-year cycle. So we're coming up on a radon testing this fall that will begin this fall. And This is where scientists from Oak Ridge National Laboratories in Tennessee, these are the radon gurus and the experts, they come to us and they put a system into each house that's basically a collection point that that collects the sample for radon in every room in your house, or every occupied room in your house. We're not going to put it in a closet because that's a non-occupied space, but a living room, bedroom, kitchen. And it's all managed in a huge database and then sent back to be analyzed and correlated. The houses that are below the threshold limit are then removed from the testing cycle until the next 5-year cycle comes up. All right. The houses that are of a concern, or the buildings for that matter, that are of a concern, that hit the trigger level for the Navy's sampling, and it's a reference point. I'm just going to put it out there. It's 4 picocuries per milliliter. All right. It's a very small amount, and if it hits that threshold, the facilities people, us, Naval Base Guam, has to do something about it. And depending on the severity is how long something has to be done. And this is all done in accordance with EPA and OSHA standards to make sure that we are providing the safest house possible. All right, so there's a couple different ways you do it. A lot of it can be done through improvements in managing HVAC systems, so ventilation, that type of thing. Some of it can be done through a process called sub-slab depressurization, which basically gives the radon some place to go that's of a lower pressure, and we all know that gases like to go to low pressure voids, so it would bleed it off before it ever got to the foundation of your house. So it's if you think about having a vacuum cleaner under your house that kind of sucks the radon away or gives it a place to go, it is that. So the only thing that you would actually see in your house would be if you had a sub-slab system installed in your house. There needs to be a measure to make sure that there is still a negative pressure gradient underneath your house. So some of you guys might actually have this in your house right now. It looks kind of like a 3-inch pipe. It maybe goes through a closet, or we tried to put it in a non-conspicuous place in your house. My house has one right now. That's why I know exactly what they look like. And then it has a little pneumatic tube on it that has fluid in it. And if your house is anything like mine, it has 2 lines on it. It says if the measurement between these lines equalizes or goes outside these lines, please contact housing. Because what that's saying is that vacuum system below your house, that ventilation system, is not at the level of vacuum that it needs to be to extract the radon. All right. So there is no such thing as a continuous radon monitoring device in your house. That's not part of the NavRamp program. But if we do find radon in your house and we solve it and we install some device that will take care of it, I'm on the hook to test your house in 2 years. So we're not going to wait that 5-year program. We're going to test in 2 to make sure it's still holding fast. So if you have one of those in your house, one of those tubes, the folks from the radon testing facility will see you every 2 years. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question about radon. So just so you know, and I'm not a doctor, and you have a staff that knows a lot more about radon than I do as far as the physical results. But what radon does, it's a long-term, heavy exposure, can predispose you to respiratory ailments, specifically lung cancer. That's why we want to keep it as low as possible. All right, out in the environment, we're inhaling it every day at a level to 1 to 2 picocuries per liter. All right, our threshold in the house where it's collected is 4 picocuries, and we're doing something about it. Okay, so and if your house is above 20 picocuries, I got to do something about it, and I have to solve the problem within 6 months. All right, I'm on the hook by EPA and Navy standards to do it. All right. If you have any questions, I would refer to your primary health care provider. The hospital also has some industrial health specialists, and they also have occupational health specialists. And not to throw this doc under the bus and get him a bunch of phone calls, but Dr. Buse is an expert when it comes to this kind of stuff. He has helped my staff understand any kind of concerns better, so he is an expert on this. He's probably out there going, Captain Shally, I got something for you. All right, Skipper, you want to say a few words?
Back to our community hospital. Just real quickly, I know it's brand new on the hill. As I said, we're only 3 years old. We opened the spring of 14. But just to give you a little bit of a breakdown of what we do, every day we deliver 1 to 2 babies a day, between 35 and 40 a month. As I said earlier, 33 bed capacity. We usually run between 50 and 60% filled. So that's about 18 to 19 inpatients every day. On our outpatient side, we have close to 2,000 encounters. Now you may be asking, what's an encounter? We see about 1,000 patients a day, but as we all know, we see our primary care doc, okay, there, Captain, you need to go to the pharmacy, get some pills, go to the lab, get some blood draw, and then of course maybe an x-ray or two. So every day we've got close to 2,000 encounters that we can make your day. You know you're coming to us, it's not your best day because you're with us, but we try our best 2,000 times a day to put a smile on your face. What else do we? Our ER is very active. In Navy medicine alone, our emergency room and ICU has the highest patient acuity. What does that mean? That means we've got some very sick patients here on the island. And again, our ER is different than most naval hospitals or DoD hospitals. We're open to the public. Every other day, we see a local population, somebody from the island, a civilian in a trauma scenario, either a car accident, motorcycle accident, or just they found unconscious in their kitchen or on the street. So every other day we have a trauma in our ER. And over the years, well, last year we saw over 200 local island folks we took care of. And along with that trauma, the sad part is we have 160 deaths per year, almost 3 a week. So we're very, very busy. We're connected with the community. But again, it's what we do as a hospital and as a community. I meet quarterly with the other 2 CEOs of Guam Memorial and Guam Regional, and what we talk about is basically what the captain talked about earlier: safety and taking care of our island, our Guam family, our military family. We talk about contingency, staffing, beds, how we can help each other. So again, it's our hospital, it's your hospital. Please use it. We like to enroll. I don't think I've said that enough tonight, but please enroll. We need you out there. And again, if there's issues or problems, give me a call. I really can't do anything if 2 weeks ago or 2 years ago or 2 months ago this happened. I need specifics, just like anybody else. I meet quarterly with the ombudsman of every unit, and that's turned out very well. We're building a nice bond with each other to see how we can anticipate issues and problems. But again, I don't know what I don't know. So if there's issues, please give me a call. We have our Facebook page, of course, is up. You can shoot us emails that way. But again, I'm here to serve you. Captain?
All right, thanks, I appreciate it. So staying in the line of community service and MWR, I just want to hit on community safety and water safety. In the last 2 years, there's been 24 island deaths, and that's not that's military, civilian, across the whole island. So we're averaging 1 death a month, and we've had unfortunate circumstances right here on Naval Base Guam. Last year alone, we had 2 fatalities and several near misses on Naval Base Guam proper. Just last week, we had a near miss where we had a swimmer missing for over 2 hours. It's one of those things that we all have to be cognizant of, and we all have to be at our best and respect the island's waters. They're wonderful. They're 85 degrees. They're beautiful. But if you get out in the vicinity of the reef or in a rip current, they can be deadly. All right. So please take care of your family. Please look after your buddies. Don't go in the water alone. If you're on this island, you're required, if you're active duty, you're required to watch the water safety video that's on the NBG homepage. And that doesn't matter what service you are and whether you're here for 2 days or 2 years. And I encourage you to share that with your families as well. You know, it is just something that's critical here for our island lifestyle. All right. Now, if you want to swim someplace that's a little bit more regimented, we have a beautiful pool at the Charles King Fitness Center. And I know you guys have a lot of questions, and I wish I could speak with you. And I know we're still struggling through some telephone difficulties, and you guys aren't able to call in. So I encourage you, keep those Facebook questions coming, and I'll get a note and I'll answer them. So the swimming pool. You know, there's a question on hours, and the hours are now changed from 5 to 8 Monday through Friday, and then 10 to 1400 on holidays, and I'm sorry, from 08 to 1700 on holidays. So I'm going to turn this over to our MWR director, and he's going to go ahead and walk you through some of the specifics about pool hours, pool usage. He's also going to talk to you about some things like our plans for the swim team, instruction, and also things for your children. All right, so Sean Alley, our MWR director, please.
Thank you, sir. So as far as the pool hours, we had a lot of questions about during the mornings. We normally close for cleaning from 0800 to 1100, and before it used to be at 7, so we extended an extra hour to give people that opportunity. It is a requirement that well, it's not really a requirement, but the reason we close from 8 to 11 is so we can get the pool clean. And in the past, a lot of people have said, well, most pools don't really need that much time to get clean, but the pools that do that, they normally close 1 day a week, and because of the usage and because of customer feedback, we've chosen not to close 1 day a week and just keep going 7 days a week. But in turn, the trade-off is we have to be closed a certain amount of hours to get the pool clean. But not only get the pool clean, it has to be ready with the chlorine. And it's kind of tough for an outdoor pool, because if it's indoor, it doesn't take that long for the chlorine for you to put new chlorine and have it break down. But being that it's in the sun, it's a little bit more complicated than that. And I don't want to go into the whole thing about the chlorine and everything, but it takes a while. But that's the reason that we take that long to clean it every day. And as far as swim lessons, that's one of the big topics a lot of people have been asking about. And we do plan on offering swim lessons. I know we'd said in the past that we would have it up and running by now, and our plan was to have it up and running right now. The difficulty with that plan was, in order for our lifeguards to teach swim lessons, they need to be WSI certified. We try to hire lifeguards that were WSI certified. There weren't anybody on the island that was WSI certified, or nobody that wanted to work anyway. So what we did was plan B, was we brought an instructor in and we trained our lifeguards, and we got them WSI certified. Now, that process is over with, and you would think we'd be ready to go, which we were ready to go, but we just can't take a lifeguard now and have them teach swim lessons, so we've got to change the PD, and that's in the process. That's actually going on right now. So what we're doing now is we've got to change their PD over to swim instructor PD, because in the past we had no swim instructors. So they've got to reapply for these jobs, which is what they're doing, and hopefully that's in process right now, and we're hoping to get a quick turnaround on that and hopefully start swim lessons by the end of this month. And, barring any other unforeseen circumstances, hopefully it'll be a reality. So right now there is one swim class that's going on, and we're planning to fill the demand that we've got.
All right, thanks, Sean. I really appreciate that. So a couple things that were brought up were children's toys in the pool, that type of thing. Unfortunately, that is a CNIC, which is a Naval Installations instruction, not that I make, that unfortunately is enterprise-wide, that says nothing but Coast Guard approved flotation devices in the pool. That's another reason, like some people have asked me whether they can wear glass dive masks in the pool. That's also prohibited in the pool. So operating a CNIC compliant pool limits some of the activities that we can do there. So you know, hopefully for activities like that you want with fins and goggles, you can do that down at Gab Gab Pool, and maybe even see some of the sea life that's down there. So let's see. Hopefully that answers your questions about the pool. It is well used, and but we're always looking to maximize it. So if you have a good idea, please, happy to address it through the gym management pipeline, or just let us know through a ICE comment, or you can let me know. You know, there are many opportunities to reach out and give us some feedback. So I really appreciate that. Let's see here. Youth sports and gymnastics. The gymnastics contract has continued, and we're using the same provider, and she's great, and I know she does great programs with your children, and hopefully we can continue to do that, and that is the plan. Youth sports is definitely growing. Chrissy, do you want to say anything about youth sports?
Sure, Skipper. Good evening, everybody. Just to address the concerns that came up on Facebook regarding gymnastics and our youth sports program, we are trying to improve our services through the youth sports program. Part of that is providing quality programming at affordable prices. And although our prices may be changing, it's not going to affect our contracts. We're held to the items that are set forth in that contract. So what we're putting forth to you is not going to affect what our instructor is going to be taking home or how she's going to be providing her services. What we're just trying to do is improve the affordability on our end to you guys as our customers, as well as improve our overall sports program. We are partnering a lot more with some more community programs. Next season, our baseball program will be partnered with the off installation baseball program, which is going to expand the age groups that we're going to be able to provide baseball services for. So just keep looking for all of these new things that are coming up. I know we're trying to get the word out as fast and as loud as we can, and that's a process we're still working on as well, but we're continually improving, like the captain said, and just keep a lookout for all the new things that'll be coming out. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Chrissy. All right, so I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I think we have somebody online. Are you online or on the phone? If you are, please just give me a good comm check. Anybody?
Good evening, CEO. Just wanted to find out if the phone lines are open.
They are open, so please call us in at 333-1600. So please call in, and like I said, please use good phone etiquette, and if you call in, mute yourself until you find an appropriate place to ask your question, and then unmute and ask away, all right? We're looking for our first call-in customer, so we can answer some questions here.
Captain, I actually have a question regarding gymnastics.
Sure, no problem. How are you this evening?
I'm well, sir. Thank you again for holding me. We appreciate it.
Well, sorry for the technical difficulties here. So I'm glad we get to your question. All right, please go ahead.
My concern is there hasn't been any advertising for gymnastics in at least 6 months. Coach Monique used to fill these classes up all the time. She's canceling at least half of them every month because people don't know about it. It's not in the monthly magazine publication, not anywhere on Facebook. There are no printed flyers anywhere. compounded with for a long, long time, and I know Chrissy's been working on this with her staff. If you had called the CDC to ask about gymnastics classes, the staff would tell you, sorry, they don't exist. We kind of went rogue, and we made our own flyers. We're telling our friends to call in because we didn't want the classes to be canceled. But our friends were calling in saying, hey, we want to sign up for gymnastics, and they're like, sorry, we don't offer gymnastics classes here.
All right, so I'm gonna ask Chrissy and Sean to answer this question because you can tell by looking at me I'm not a gymnast. So I'm gonna ask the experts here. Chrissy.
Hi, thank you for that question. Marketing has been a struggle. Unfortunately, one of the programs that has suffered from that is our gymnastics program. Thankfully, we do have parents like you who are active participants and are helping support us in spreading the word. We do have a plan in place that's going to improve that. We are meeting with the instructors so that we can kind of lay out a schedule for the year and be able to put out a full year calendar. So that way word will be out well in advance for a longer period of time and hopefully ensure that the word will get out to more people. But thank you for your efforts in helping us spread the word.
All right, check this out. I'm going to put Sean on the spot here, and I'm going to say, Sean, we're going to do a better job of marketing gymnastics.
We are, sir. So one of the things we're doing too is we meet with JRI Marketing. We're doing a once a month meeting with them, and like Chrissy said, we're actually doing an MWR calendar for the whole year now. So basically, all our services will go in for, like everything that we do. We're going to seek. We're talking to all the managers and getting an annual calendar, and then we're going to try and take that to marketing. And we do monthly meetings with marketing, so we follow up with them. We tell them what's going great and what's not. We actually bring our ICE comments and complaints to them to show them that this is the customer's thoughts and this is what the customers are asking for. So we're kind of trying to develop a whole new relationship with marketing, and hopefully it'll work out for the community. And the steps we've taken so far in the last couple of months, it's made a big difference. It's not there where we need it to be, but we're actually getting up to where we need to be. So thank you for bearing with us. We really appreciate the patience, but we will get it there.
Thanks for your question. I appreciate it, and I'm with you. That's a neat facility over there. It's amazing what they have. So I don't want to jeopardize. The program that we provide. That's for sure. So thank you for calling. All right, so I'm looking for some more questions at 333-1600. Please call in. I'm going to shift over to housing, and one of your questions that was put in via Facebook, I'm going to ask Marlene to address. So Marlene, please.
Hello, my name is Marlene Gumaman, and I'm the housing director. One of the questions that was asked was regarding the E5s who are residing in unaccompanied housing. Once you do make E5, you do have to submit your paperwork to move off base. Now, shipboard sailors, once you reach E5, you need to be paid the E5. So, and these are single E5s. Now, unaccompanied housing is merely for E1 to E3, and for up to shipboard sailors, E1 to E4, less than 4. Another one that was addressed was also to authorize pictures to be placed on the walls in unaccompanied housing. You can put the pictures on the walls. However, you need to utilize the approved 3M tape light stickers on the walls. And what I can do is I can go ahead and let everybody know in unaccompanied housing what brand you can use. You can get that brand over at Home Depot. I'm not sure if you can get them at the Exchange. Or the Home Center. So, as well, you can get it at the Exchange at the Home Center. I will go ahead and notify my my housing manager to go ahead and put that word out. Another one that was brought out was the AC unit and family housing at Lockwood Terrace. They were having major issues, and the dehumidifiers that were installed. Currently, the project is completed. However, it is under warranty. We have reopened the project with NAFAC, and we are performing exploratory inspection with NAFAC and the housing staff to determine what is going on with these new AC units. If there is a leak that we need to respond, please get a hold of your area manager, or you can go ahead and call my facilities manager at 333-2087 or 2088, and we can go ahead and address that issue.
All right, so we'll go back to housing, but once again, the dial-in number is working now, 333-1600. Captain, do you have anything that you'd like to tell us about?
Sure. Here we are again. Let's see, our little hospital on the hill. Our three busiest product lines is, of course, orthopedics, OB, and mental health. And you see this in any DoD hospital. Those three folks keep us very busy, and those are three of the busiest clinics we have. And to get to these, of course, you need a referral from your primary care manager, except with mental health. Mental health is operated as a medical home port, primary care for mental health, where you can walk in, talk to the front desk folks. We always have a duty provider on. They can screen you, triage you, see what needs to be done. Their number, of course, and it's out there. It's 344-9401. One of the issues that keep popping up, I see on the Facebook, for not only for Naval Hospital but for the naval base itself, is the short supply of counselors. We are in an isolated spot. Some of the new TRICARE rules, which there are so many. If you have time, you can swing by the TRICARE office. It's open, of course, Monday through Friday. And that number for you is, once again, 344-9777 or 344-9425. They've got the latest rules. But for non-active duty, so if you're a family member of an active duty, you're entitled to 8 visits per fiscal year to a TRICARE provider out in town. So please come to the hospital, find out who the TRICARE providers are out in town, and you can go there 8 times a year. The 9th time, you need to come to the hospital and get a special referral for that. But the counseling services, they are a little tight on the island. Our mental health is primarily focused on the active duty and the family member to get them fit to fight, and that's what we do here, being at that point of the spear, so to speak. But again, it's available, it's out there. The TRICARE Service Office is there to help you, point you in the right direction. But a big thing, I don't think I've stressed it enough tonight, is that you need to enroll. You need to belong to us. If you're a Space A folks or a TRICARE standard, you're kind of on your own, and you lose out in some of the priority appointing and priority services. So please, once again, we've talked about it, seems like a lot tonight, but please enroll. Pick USNH Naval Hospital as your primary care provider, and we'll get you seen. Skipper.
All right, thanks, Captain. I appreciate it. All right, so now what I'm going to ask, when we're going to have a little bit of discussion about wait times and availability of housing and what goes into change of occupancy and that type of stuff. So, my goal is to get families who are coming to Island into a house as quickly as possible as they come to an island. And I'm going to ask Marlene to talk a little bit about how that works and then some of the things that might prevent that or some of the things that make that a little bit more complicated perhaps than what it sounds. So Marlene?
When a unit is final, when we perform the final inspection, what we do is we send the housing operation and maintenance contractor in there, which is Wolf Creek. They go out there and they perform the change of occupancy maintenance. Change of occupancy maintenance depends on what needs to be done in the unit. It can run from 1 week and it can run up to 10 days. All depends. Now, the funding, we have the availability of the funding. However, it's all the houses that we have that we're preparing. We're preparing all the houses that were families vacate from, and we're also putting back online the 72 units at Opera Palms. So right now, currently, the contractor has tripled in their workload right now. So we are in the process of working the houses, and the contractors are working countless hours to get these houses ready and to get you into these homes and out of TLA. My staff on the operations side, which is the assignment side, will be calling you and updating you as to what is going on with your unit, and should be letting you know when your projected move-in date is.
Okay. All right, thanks, Marlene. I just had a couple folks dial in. Do you have any questions? Thank you for joining us.
I have a question regarding the Opera Palms. What were the precautions taken due to the mold issues now that you'll be moving people into those?
Into Opera Palms?
Yes, they were condemned. I would say about 3 years ago. I know I was a resident of one, and my child had a lot of sickness due to mold. And now they're moving people into them, but yet I have never seen any construction done to them. So I'm just curious what precautions have been taken.
Sure. And thanks for a call. I really appreciate it. They weren't condemned, but they were slated for demolition because of they were our oldest housing area, and they were also underutilized by family housing because once the Dodea High School moved to the Hill, it no longer was a preferred location point. So therefore, we had trouble filling Opera Palms as far as for occupancy. This is an island that has a humid, hot environment, so mold is occasionally an issue here, especially when you live in concrete buildings that have HVAC systems that are working 24 hours a day, especially if your house is very cool and very moist. It's very conducive to mold formation. Specifically, they weren't condemned, and they weren't slated for demolition because of any mold concerns. They were slated for demolition because of age and occupancy. So what we have done is divested them from the family housing program to unaccompanied housing program. And if mold is a concern, and we have staff in there twice a week, and occupants obviously tell us updates and that type of thing, but we address it right away, just like we would at family housing. We go ahead and look to isolate the mold. If we can't isolate the mold and correct it quickly, we will look at moving occupants. If we can isolate the problem and then have a route to fixing it, we can work with the occupants to stay there or not, depending on how intrusive the repair is going to be. So right now, Opera Palms is open to rotational deployers. It's Seabees, SEALs, Marines, primarily on long-term rotational TDYs. So does that answer your question at all?
It does. Thank you. That gives me a lot more information than I had.
Okay, I appreciate the call. It was a great call. And I tell you what, so here's an interesting thing about mold, and Marlene can tell you this, but I'm not going to let her give the chance. So I know mold can be a concern, and I know it is an immediate health concern. So I know in this environment, if we're not careful, you can have mold growth. So when mold comes up, whether it's an ice complaint or even just through the housing chain of information, Marlene knows that is an immediate command involvement for me. I know of all the mold issues that have been brought to our attention, whether it's ice or through the housing help desk. I get involved, and for many of these houses, probably about 80% of the houses that we have a concern, I get a site visit at least 2 or 3 times during any attempts to fix it and mitigate it. So thanks for the question. All right, any other questions out there at 333-1600? All right, moving on here. Some current, I'm just going to move on to some quality of life concerns. There were some folks that addressed something about shipping in the post office. I don't have a post office representative here, but I do have some information. So as a consumer, I get frustrated sometimes when I'm online looking for something cool and they do not ship to Guam. I know that can be frustrating. I've run into it. I have no control over that. So I know that some of you had commented that an admiral passed through and they were looking at setting up an APO. That was one of the SUBPAC flag officers that came through here, and the submarine community through Squadron 15 was looking at that. And I'll be honest, I don't know what the status on that. That was something they were doing through a command quality of life, and I can follow up on that. But I don't have a good answer for you on that. Now, I will say all base housing is provided for by the U.S. Postal Service. Just like back home in New York, the white truck with the red and blue stripe shows up and delivers our mail. So it is a little bit different than a overseas. Can you mute your phone? I hear somebody with a little bit of feedback. Can you mute your phone? Thank you. I remember when I was overseas in Sasebo, we had I had a box and that type of stuff, and it was a little different because there was no U.S. problem. Dial 1-800-ASK, ASKS, USPS. So ask the United States Postal System. All right, I really appreciate that.
Captain, can I jump in real quick?
Go for it.
Just a little bit here on the mailing. This is a little bit outside my lane, of course, but as a normal person, I'm an Amazon Prime member myself. And you're right, you tack on the shipping charges, but all it takes to get that money refunded back, if you go back on your Amazon Prime, go to the very bottom of the page where it says help, you click on help, and it takes you to another page where it says more help, and you can write them an email. And like I said, I've been here a year. My wife and I and my family use Amazon Prime, it seems like weekly. We get charged the shipping charge, of course, but you go on there, as I said, under the help and then the more help page and tell them who you are and where you're at, that you're a Prime member and you're a service member serving overseas, and they refund it. I usually get a response back in 12 to 24 hours that says, Mr. Cornwell, thank you very much for your concern. You're a valued customer, and the charges are back on my credit card within about 2 days. So all you have to do is ask. And that's a great product they have.
All right, so any questions out there on the phones? Thanks for the folks who have called in. We still have about 45 minutes or so please get those calls in, and I'll be working through the questions that you've provided on Facebook. I'll be the first to admit our technical difficulties a little earlier have kind of slowed down my rhythm, so I'm trying to get through all the questions. I'm gonna throw it out here. Has anybody been hit lately by an angry bird? Somebody has written in about the dive bombers that are right now invading our jogging paths, and I'm with you. Can you mute your phone, please? Thank you. They are not indigenous to Guam, but there's really nothing we can do about those pesky black birds. All right, so I'm with you. I'm out there running, and actually they scare the dickens out of Master Chief. So I feel for you on the birds, but unfortunately we're not going to do anything. But what we will do is If you see feral pigs, we do have a feral pig eradication program that we work. And as the feral pig population ebbs and flows on main base or in other places in housing, we work with contractors to take care of that. So if you see anything like that, please let us know. Any questions out there?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
We live up at Bayview, and the road leading up in Haputo, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, up by Hiputo, right before you make the left turn onto Bayview.
Yeah, it's really, really dark. And I was wondering if there's any way we could possibly put in those, like, small light posts. Because people who are walking their dogs and stuff, I mean, it's dark by, like, 7.
Right there by the corner, right there by the quarry.
Well, all the way down, up until you can hit North Tip. It's completely
All right, let
looking to the lighting there, because there's no light posts or anything.
okay. I tell you what, you're right. It is dark right there in that corner, and then as you head up the hill, I'm going to have my public works team look at that. There are some lighting projects in work, but they're not in that area, so that's not going to help you. So I'll definitely look at that corner specifically, and then on up the hill.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate the insight. All right, any other questions out there? And thank you for muting your phone. I really appreciate that. It's kind of scary when you're listening to your own voice. I tell you what, you never sound like you think you sound. I'll just tell you that. All right.
Sir?
Yes, go ahead.
There are a few crosswalks on Naval Base Guam that are a little more exciting than maybe most pedestrians would enjoy. The ones that I'm thinking of, I like to run down to the back gate and back, so from the gym to the back gate.
Yep.
And the one that crosses over the entrance to Harborview, in order for a car to see around, like the trees or even the concrete median, they have to pull through the crosswalk, which means it gets exciting, a little exciting. Is there any way we could put like flashers on there or something like that, so when you are going through the crosswalk, there's just some more attention?
Sure. Well, maybe we can. I tell you what. Let me look at that. I think one of the solar signs that we have at some of the Marine Corps Drive crosswalks. You've seen the ones that have the yellow lights around the diamond.
Yeah.
Maybe we can look at that. I have a little bit of some discretionary money that I think we can definitely, especially if we roll in the safety piece, we can make a really good case for that. All right, Hadi, that's on you. All right, my Hadi, my assistant public works officer, he has that on his list.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. I know exactly where you're talking about. Okay, thank you. Any other questions out there? All right, in no particular order, this question came about DECA baggers. I think it's DECA policy that the baggers do work for tips, and that's their only salary is the tips, and I think that's a DECA standard throughout. Leslie, would you like to talk to us a little bit about DECA?
Yes, sir, I would. The baggers are independent contractors. They are not employees of the commissary. The only control we have over them are to ensure that they are safe, that they observe all the security regulations, and that they provide the best in customer service. Other than that, they're independent contractors, and they're in there on their own free will.
All right. Thanks, Leslie. I appreciate that.
My pleasure, sir.
All right. Next thing, Guam driver's license, and I apologize for kind of jumping all around here, but Guam driver's license. So beginning May 1st of this year, the Department of Revenue and Taxation has implemented some more stringent requirements for driver's license. And really it comes down to being in compliance with the Real ID Act, which you may have heard about. States have to be compliant in order to tap into some certain federal funds. So Guam is getting on board with that, and in order to meet those requirements, they are now asking applicants who are renewing their driver's license to have verification of where you live from. If you're out in a village out in Guam, it has to be from the mayor's office. If you're here on base, it's your housing assignment as your proof of residency. You have to have either your social security card or a W-2 tax form from the last 5 years, an original birth certificate, or a passport. So those are some pretty, I'll be honest, those are some pretty stringent requirements, but that's in order to meet that federal stipulation for the Real ID Act. Now, I know there's a lot of frustration out there about Guam driver's license for family members. Here, Guam chooses to acknowledge the Soldier and Sailors Relief Act for active duty military, but they do not extend that to family members. They give family members 30 days to get a Guam driver's license. And then after that, if you're pulled over for speeding, they can tack on an additional penalty for not being in compliance with that licensing act. All right. If we pull you over on base, I have to, as a federal enclave that is on the island in the territory of Guam, I have to enforce that territorial law as well. So therefore, if I pull over a family member, I'm going to ask them for their current license. And if that's not a current Guam license, then I have to cite them for that as well. So you can see that it becomes a challenging process or problem if you don't abide by that. And I get you. I wouldn't want to turn over my Florida driver's license. Fortunately, I'm excluded by the Sailor and Soldiers Relief Act as an active duty military, but that does not extend to my family. All right. It's something that Joint Region Marianas legal team has been working with government of Guam and proposing this as an addendum to help them recognize that for full family members, but we haven't had any good luck yet. So that's where we are on driver's license. So if I could piggyback on driver's license and ask for your help here. How many people out there own a car? I do. All right. How many people bought a car here on Guam? I did. Please, please, please get it registered in the territory of Guam, then register it on base. All right. Also, ensure that it's properly insured, because as my patrol units pull people over for speeding, what we're finding at an alarming rate is that people do not have current license and registration. In one day, when I tasked security to turn around every single vehicle that did not have a current registration for their car, we turned over 105 vehicles in the first 3 hours of the base being open. All right, that's a significant issue. That's a significant problem. All right, help yourself, help your family. Guarantee that you're going to have access to the base, because I need to ensure that we're following Guam law and that we have insurance for operating motor vehicles on base to protect you as the driver, but also to protect your families. Seko, do you want to say anything on that, or did I hit it?
You hit it, sir.
I hit it?
You did.
All right, you just don't want to talk. All right. All right. I am going to take take a topic from Seko, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. NCACs, the transition to DBIDs. All right, we have friends, families, coworkers that are perhaps contract employees of the federal government. All right, we are transitioning programs enterprise-wide, CNIC, to the DBID system. All right. What that means is August 15th, people who are operating and gaining base access through the old NCAC system will no longer have base access. Now, this applies to contractors specifically. All right. If you have a DoD ID card, you're good to go. Don't worry about it. But if you know a contractor or employ a contractor or someone in your family is a contractor, tell them to go to the VCC and make sure that they get signed up with their contracting sponsor to get a DBIDS card. And depending on the length of their contract, it can either be a hard card or a paper copy. All right. That drops dead August 15th. And we have thousands of contractors who access this base every day. So I don't want there to be any hitches with that. All right. How about you there, Skipper? You got anything else you want to put out, or have you put it all out?
Sir, I think I put it out more than once, I think, tonight. But before we get out of here, I've been talking about our community hospital, and it is our community hospital as the family of Guam, the island of Guam. What I haven't talked about is my family of 800. I've got 800 professionals up there that our motto is service before self, and I could not do what I do without them doing what they do every day so well. I've got some of the best trained professionals that you'd ever want to meet, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them because we have 25,000 of you DoD beneficiaries that you're part of our family as well, and we want to give you the best of the best. And I can't say enough about my staff of 800. From the E1 to the 06, we're all there for you, and I just can't thank them enough for making it a fun place to work, and I'm so proud of them, and it's just a joy to come to work every day. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you. And if you got anything out of this, what I need you to do, I need you to enroll. I need you to enroll. And again, that number, 344-9777, enroll for us. And again, if you get a roadblock someplace, like anything else, don't go away mad. I don't want you to do that. But pick up the phone. My number is 344-9234, and give me a shout. Talk to me. I'm always available. But I want to help your problem right then and there. I really can't do anything about it if it's 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years down the road, and I had a bad experience. I don't want you to go away. It's our community hospital. We can only make it better. So please, let me know what's going on. Thanks again.
All right. Sounded like we were at a telethon for a second there, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and enroll as soon as I leave here. So I know there are some folks out there that had some questions and concerns. Please, 333-1600, call in. Anybody have a question? All right. Go ahead. Yep.
We are the charter organization for our Cub Scout pack, and we are desperately searching storage for our kiddos. Can you go over what you said again about we tried to apply for space?
Sure.
There actually is no storage at the chapel for our scouts. We were told we were going to have like a closet space, and we don't. So can you just go over that one more time?
Sure, I sure can. Once again, I provide storage as available. Providing storage to non-federal entities is not a primary mission. It's an ancillary mission that I do as I can. But if you are looking to gain some storage, you can do that by applying for a lease through our Public Works, who is our storage facility manager, but also through the judge advocate. You could put in a request, and it will run through that pipeline as well. Judge, do you have any comments? Okay. How about you, Hadi from Public Works?
Sir, you hit it right. If they submit their request through Public Works Department, we'll look at it. And as you said, the storage spaces are based on the availability, and we take a look at it, and we set the priority as Captain Shawley said it. The priority goes to the Lieutenant Commander of Warfighter, but we will be willing to help if there's a space available.
All right. So Public Works, just so you know, you can come into Building 3190. That's where the headquarters is. All right. So or you can submit it if you have a question. You can call the front office, and they'll direct you to Public Works. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate your call. Thank you. Any other calls out there? or questions, I should say. Somebody wrote in a question regarding some scholastic issues, so I'm going to turn this over to the superintendent and give him an opportunity to talk about some things like teachers, substitute teachers, and anything coming up for the school since graduation's right around the corner. Superintendent?
Yes, sir. We are getting ready for graduation tomorrow evening, and then school for the younger students will be out on Thursday the 15th. So we are getting ready to shut down for summertime. One of the questions was, why are there not enough teachers? And I have to say that I can't really say that there aren't enough teachers. The issue seems to be how we get those teachers on board. The selection process is pretty lengthy. We have to go through the EQIP process with that. So if I hire a teacher today, and by the time they go through their background check, it well may be October by the time that's cleared and we're able to put that person in place. One of the things we've done or that we're encouraging people to do to mitigate that is to apply to be a substitute. Even if they're a certified teacher and they may never want a substitute, the background check is the same for a substitute as it is for a full-time employee. So as new family members come into the community or they're applying to be a teacher, I encourage them to go ahead and fill out that substitute application. It allows us to go ahead and start processing that paperwork. And then as positions open up and they appear on referral lists, we're able to move them into those full-time positions a little bit easier. There was also the question about substitutes and their qualifications. Right now on Guam, the qualification to be a substitute is you must have 60 college credit hours in order to be a substitute. In some places that's a little higher. In many places it's a little lower. Again, it takes a long time to get your background check done to be able to do that. So we have a lot of people who will apply for that position, but they may have decided, you know what, I really need a job. I need to go down and see the folks at the Exchange or at DECA and get a job because I need money. And I'm not able to put people in contact with kids until they have those background checks completed.
All right, thanks, Jim. I really appreciate it. And I tell you what, that brings up another question that a lot of folks have had, and that's about spouse employment. Hey, welcome. You're just chiming in. You're welcome to ask a question here in a moment. Spousal employment and the length of background checks for employment, whether that's through CDC trying to get a job or MWR or even the process to become a teacher. Those background checks are extensive. They're federal. They're run through the Human Resources program that's managed by, our input is through the region, and then they feed back to the Human Resource pipeline that's back in San Diego, and it takes an onerous amount of time, and I understand the frustration that in the amount of time it takes to get qualified, you could already be through a third of your stay in Guam, and that's just really defeating. So I would say work with the HRO team up at Joint Region Marianas. Also work with Fleet and Family Service Center. It has some programs that they can help you and guide you through applications with USA Jobs Online. But it is challenging, and I understand that. Anybody from out in the office here have anything that they'd like to say about their programs or about questions that you've heard that are concerning your organizations? Nope, you guys are really helpful to me tonight. All right, I am going to put Mr. Tom Goodman on the spot because he's going to, and I'm surprised somebody hasn't called in. It's 19 minutes till 8 o'clock, and no one has called me about Wendy's yet.
They emailed.
Oh, they emailed it. There you go. All right. So Wendy's. All right. I I know you guys watch that every day. I see it every day. I drive by it at least 4 times a day. And you see that the barriers are up and they're working behind it. So I went to Wendy's 3 days ago for a site visit. All right. Are they as far along as I wanted them to be? No. Are they making progress? Yes. So what it is looking like is a late October turnover followed by 2 weeks of staff training on site, and I'm looking for a mid-November live date. All right. So I've already threatened that I'm having Thanksgiving dinner in Wendy's one way or the other. So I'm either going to be eating a Wendy's hamburger at Thanksgiving, or I'm going to be eating chicken in a construction or turkey in a construction zone. So one way or the other, I'm eating Thanksgiving dinner in Wendy's, and Tom Goodman is the point of contact, and he's going to provide another update for you, a little bit more detail.
Good evening, I'm Tom Goodman. And as Captain Shirley said, we did a site visit on Monday, and we had an opportunity to meet with the owner of the construction company and the construction crew, and to share where they're at and what's going on. It was in February of 15 that McDonald's announced to Nexcom that they were pulling out of Guam. They were going to remove themselves from the base here. At that point in time, it gave us a chance to go out and solicit. We had one party come back and say they wanted to operate a food operation. That was Wendy's. That contract was awarded to them in January 1/29/2016. At that time, the paperwork, the tech evals, contract drawings, all come to NAFAC in the region, and that literally took almost a year to go through the process. In late November last year, there was an issue between McDonald's and Wendy's. The facade, the McDonald's facade, had to be removed from that building, and that was McDonald's responsibility. And they took another 30 days to, actually 90 days to do that. So on 1/29/2017, the contractor literally got an opportunity to start work in there. And the contract allows a 270-day process to finish this. It's 9 months. They have 9 months from the time they start to finish that. And that contractor, after meeting with Captain Sholey and I, actually came back and has already knocked another week off. So our conversation with him speeded him up a little bit. He's going to be working 6 days a week. One of the challenges he has, is the real challenge here in Guam, is the subject matter experts, the labor expertise, plumbers, electricians, mason. They simply don't have the skilled labor here in Guam. He has 10 people that he's using, and he's working them 6 days a week. But he did commit to move that up. I also met with the owner of Wendy's, and they're as excited as we are to get it open. And that's I use this open, open, open. So we're pushing that button, and they agreed. Originally it was 30 days, 2 weeks or less. I think we'll have a soft opening shortly, late October, early November.
All right, thank you, Tom.
That's where we're pushing, Skipper.
All right, thanks, Tom. Tom Goodman and his team at the NEX have also done some good things. If you're out at Polaris Point, they put an Island Girl coffee truck out there. So if you happen to be out at Polaris Point, or that's where your duty station is, that's a good service that provides coffee and small coffee shop type edibles there on Polaris Point. We just had a call in. Do you have a question? Thank you for calling. All right. Anybody out there have a question? All right.
Skipper, if I can add.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
For Captain Cornwall and yourself, the mini mart at the hospital has been under construction. Mini mart at the hospital is under construction for quite a while, and it looks like we're going to be able to do a grand opening the latter part of July. That's what we're targeting. So we'll all go out and cut the ribbon. But in the meantime, just know there's a lot of process, a lot of work behind the scene. That mini mart's going to look spectacular. The parts that are open do look very, very nice.
All right. So if anybody didn't hear him, the mini mart at the hospital has been going through renovations and will soon be opening up and will be available. Tom, do you have a date on that?
We're looking at after July 22nd shortly thereafter. I need to make sure all of our calendars match.
Okay, sounds good. I really appreciate that. All right. Out there on the phone lines, thank you again for calling in, and thank you for the patience with our technical difficulties. Do you have any questions that we could answer? I have the subject matter experts here, and this is a great opportunity.
Sir, I have another comment.
Yeah, please.
I apologize. This is directed towards marketing. I'm not sure if it's through MWR or JRM, but there's a lot of information that's being produced that is either incomplete or inaccurate. I have a few examples. There's this really beautiful front and back advertisement that they were passing out for summer camps, but there was some pertinent information missing. There was no start time, there was no end time, there was no cost. This is a really beautiful piece. It looks like it's actually designed by a graphic designer, but it's inaccurate. It's missing important stuff.
Sure, that could be frustrating. I get it. Yeah.
When they had the fun run for the kids at the Next a couple weeks ago, all the Facebook posts, the marketing flyers, everything like that, they had the wrong time on there. So the poor ladies at the CDC were emailing everyone saying, go to Sims at 6, not at 9, please show up on time. And I think they had similar issues with like the Moana Dive-In movie. Facebook posts have a hard time correlating to what's actually happening. There seems to be a disconnect somewhere. And I'm probably a little pickier because I come from a sales and marketing background. When I look at it, it makes my eye twitch a little bit. But it definitely, there's some room for improvement, and I'm happy to help out if needed. But there's room for improvement there.
Oh, that's perfect. No, I totally agree, and I don't want to make your eyes twitch. That is, it's dead on, and it's a great point. And I always, if there's one thing that my staff knows, I stress it's details and customer service, and I think you fall right in squarely in the middle of both those categories. That's detail and customer service. We will get better at it. I wish I could point at. I think that's a piece of the puzzle that goes across the whole spectrum. And I think it's not just MWR. It's PAO. It's stuff like to include stuff coming from housing for bulletins and stuff coming from Public Works for notifications. We just got to make a more concerted effort to make sure that that's communicated effectively across all the spectrums that we cover. I'm with you. Thank you. All right, next question. I heard somebody dial in there.
Is that me?
I think it is you. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Can we go back to housing really quick?
Sure.
On the houses that are being vacant, so we're just stuck with there's not enough employees to get the houses cleaned in a timely fashion. Is that the final answer?
No, so no, that is not the final answer. But I mean, we work hard to get as many houses up for occupancy as we can. We have approximately 900 houses that we are responsible for, and some of them are down because of renovation. We have Lockwood Phase 2 going on that has pulled off all Lockwood all of that area of housing. There's been houses that I have set aside that we were doing ventilation work while people were in there installing new interiors to ventilation. And I said, no, we're going to make sure these houses are right. So I pulled them off because it was inconveniencing. People, and it wasn't providing the level of quality that they deserved. So I said, we are going to fix this before we issue these houses. So that's being worked through. That's a ventilation encapsulation project. So all those. They are coming online as the contractor works through them. So it is yes, the manpower is part of the puzzle, but my goal is if I'm going to provide a house, it's going to be the best house that I can provide, and the houses that I'm not issuing are houses that have some issue that's preventing me from putting a family in there, and when I am able to fix that with who I have and the resources that I have, then that housing will be brought online. Does that help?
Kind of, but can I dig a little further?
Sure, go for it.
Say we know of a house that is vacant, we know the family who left, and we know that there were no issues with the house, no new issues have been brought up with the house, there just isn't the manpower to clean it yet, but housing is still telling our families, we don't have a house, you either have to take this one that is undesirable for whatever reason, or you need to, take a month-to-month lease off base, and they're not even giving them we won't have this house ready for 6 weeks because we don't have the manpower, which I think our families would accept. They're just saying, no, we don't have a house. And these families are getting stuck out in leases out in town that they don't want, or they're spending their own money on whatever, hotels, trying to figure out lodging for their pets. I mean, couldn't housing just say, we have this house available in the neighborhood that you are requesting, but it will not be ready for 6 weeks, instead of just saying, no, we don't have any houses?
So a house was offered,
I can answer that too.
and
In a neighborhood that the family said they did not want. So they're calling it a decline, and now these people are not able to live on base, instead of just waiting for the house in the neighborhood that we know will eventually be available.
okay. That's it. So, but I am going to let Marlene talk to some general comments for this question. I don't want to get into specific details about a specific family. I think you can understand that.
But before you do that, hi, I also wanted to chime in on that. I have no idea who that other caller is, but I've had this happen with at least 4 or 5 families that we know that are just moving to town. The same thing has happened. There's houses in the neighborhood. They're vacant. People have just moved out of them or had moved out of them within the month. Housing tells them there's no houses or offers them a very undesirable house, and then says there's nothing left. So, and they do go to housing, and they try to go to housing and try to tell them the houses that are available. Sometimes they say, oh, we didn't know that house was available, or, oh, that house, isn't ready, and you have to go off base.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and let Marlene answer a question here. Thanks. I appreciate the call, though. So we're going to go ahead and provide an answer here.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, it's dependent on the designation of the unit. If it's a 4-bedroom unit, and also our units are based on field grade, company grade, senior enlisted, senior officer. So it depends on what type of unit. However, if there are several that is going through that situation right now, in order for me to tackle that, you would need to give me a chance to work on that, and I can go ahead and provide my information, so that way, if you could just give me a call. And then I will go ahead and look through the EMH log and find out what is going on there. Now, we do have different designations of units, and also it varies on who is on the wait list also as well. So.
Okay. And that's a very specific question, and I welcome you to come into the housing office, and we can discuss it, and hopefully we can get it solved.
Perfect. Can you provide your contact information?
Marlene, yeah.
It's 333-2087 or 2088.
333
2087
2087
or 2088.
or 2088.
And I'll be happy to work with you.
All right, thank you. We got about 5 more minutes, and happy to take a couple more calls if we can fit them in. I just see a couple people dropping offline. If anybody else has popped up, still time for a question.
Question for Chrissy from Suzy Bar.
Okay, you got a little bit broken, but I think we can understand.
Oh, I was just wondering if they were going to be bringing the Children's Missoula Children's Theater at this store?
The Missoula Children's Theater.
Yes.
Yes. Chrissy, you want to speak up and tell us a little bit of details?
Let me make sure I have the right thing.
All right, she's grabbing some reference material. You caught me totally off guard. I've heard about that, but I don't know any details. So Chrissy is helping me out.
So Missoula Children's Theater for the summer will be the week of July 10th. We're also going to do an evening performance as opposed to a Saturday morning performance. So Friday evening will be the performance this time. It's open for everybody, free. You don't need to register. You just need to show up and audition at Molly's at 10 a.m. on the 10th of July.
All right, 10th of July, Rapunzel and Molly McGee's 10 a.m. So hopefully that's the information that you need. And piggybacking on another comment, we'll make sure we'll get that in an accurate and information-full media so we can get that word out, because obviously you had a question, so I'm sure many other folks did. So thank you for calling on that. All right, and please hit mute on your phone if you just joined us. Thank you. All right, going once, going twice. Any more questions from online? Teresa, anything? All right, Captain Cornwell, I'd like to thank you for joining us for our Naval Base Guam virtual town hall. Like to have you back some other time.
I'd love to, Captain.
All right, and I want to thank you guys for calling in and also typing in your questions. You know, we're here for you. This is a customer service-based organization, and we're not going to answer every question, and we're not going to provide every request, but we're going to do our best, and we're going to try to work with you, your family, your organization, your command, to make sure that we provide the best community we can here at Naval Base Guam. Just like the captain said that he has a family of 800 in his organization, I feel like we have a family of 5,000 that live, work here, and recreate here on Naval Base Guam. It's important for me and my staff that we get this feedback because it allows us to hear what's concerning you and honestly